Hey guys, I'm here fresh faced with you this morning because we're going to be talking about a brand new foundation that I've been curious to try. I'm not usually one to go for powder foundations, but this has been getting really great reviews, so I thought I'd check it out. We're going to be trying out the new Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin Powder Foundation. And this is supposed to be a blurring powder foundation that lasts for 12 hours. So we will see how this goes. I wanted to read a few of the claims to you guys. So it is, again, the Matte Velvet Skin Blurring Powder Foundation, and it is exclusive to Sephora. So it says a full coverage blurring powder with a lifelike matte finish that bends and breathes with skin for 12-hour wear that never cakes, flakes, or fades. So this is supposed to have a matte finish, which in all honesty isn't usually a major preference of mine, but I would think if you are in like a warmer climate or if you have a more oily skin type, this would be ideal. So this would probably be something that I'll use in the summer with the humidity or if I'm feeling extra oily. I did get this in 2 shades. I picked it up during the VIB sale, and in honesty, it was a little bit hard to kind of pick my shade, so I used Sephora's like find your shade if you know your shades in other foundations. So I used the 2 shades I normally go to for my Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue, and we'll check out how I did. So the first one that I got is Y335. And because of the light, it looks almost lighter, but this is close or maybe just a little darker than what I am right now. Obviously, if you have an opportunity to go in store to do some swatching, that's probably going to be best. And then I also have R250, which are obviously 2 different base of skin tones. So this one's definitely a little bit more, I would say neutral. I know red, the R probably means that it has like a red in it, which would be more of a cool tone, but I would say this is slightly more on the neutral side. I can't decide, but I feel like this is a little lighter than what I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna try the Y one and we'll just see how it goes. Now, this does come with this sponge, and it has like a more sponge feel on one side, like rubbery, and then like a flocked feel on the other side. And that's because Makeup Forever has specific instructions for the type of coverage that you're looking for, which I thought was interesting. For fuller coverage, you're going to use the sponge side using short strokes. Begin applying at the center of the face, blending outwards. For sheer coverage, you'll use the white side and use sweeping strokes to blend the formula. And then it says for buildable coverage and more precise application, you can use a brush. Makeup Forever recommends their Artisan Brush 124. So I think what I'll do, just to try out some of the different coverage, is where I need a little bit more coverage, which is right around my nose, just because I get a little redness, and then right through here, I will use the sponge side, and then I'll use the flocked like white side for the rest of my face. And then if I feel the need to, I'll just buff over it with a brush to see how that works. The only thing that I'm a little like wondering about is obviously this is the powder, and I would not put a cream over a powder. So typically I would probably conceal before I went through with this powder so that I'm not having to put a cream over the powder. But I think for today, especially just to check the true wear of this, maybe I'll just go without concealer. So we'll go ahead and try that. If I decide afterwards to risk it and put concealer over this, that'll just be another test of how this does, right? So I have primed my face with the Smashbox Primerizer. I think this is going to be the ideal primer for a test just because it's slightly hydrating but not overly moisturizing, and then it doesn't have any illuminating properties to it, so we'll really be able to see the true finish of this foundation. Now, if you haven't watched many of my videos, just to tell you a little bit about my skin, I would say that I am probably an average normal skin type. I do lean a little bit dry in the wintertime and a little bit more oily just right through my T-zone during the summertime. But I do feel like I'm a little bit less oily than normal this summer. So I have had some dry areas, and I've been treating a few like spots that I've been getting, so that tends to get a little dry. So we'll see if we have any clinging here. So I'm taking the like more sponge side and running this into the powder. I'm a little bit scared. So the last time I tried a like pressed powder foundation was the Bare Minerals one that came out a while ago, and I don't even think they make it anymore, which is good because it was like crustalicious. Like normally if you are I would say over 25 and not incredibly oily, a powder foundation is just going to make you look so aged and like really more more like textured almost. So for most people it's probably not going to be the ideal, and that one was definitely the case of that. I do like the is it the Celebration Illumination foundation from It Cosmetics, that powder one, and that one does have a little bit of luminosity to it, so I do enjoy that. So if you guys can see, I probably should have done like half of the center of my face, but it looks okay. Like it's definitely, I would not say this is like full coverage, but I don't think I'd want a full coverage powder. I think that would look pretty cakey. I would say it's like a good medium coverage. I'm a little worried to put this powder underneath my eyes. I mean, it does definitely blur. Over my eyelids is going to be like the perfect place to see the coverage because I have really veiny colored eyelids. If you guys can see the difference between one eyelid and the other, that did a pretty good job. And I'll take this with me today to do a touch-up, just so we can see how it layers over itself like later in the day, if it gets cakey or anything else. And I'm really risking myself for you guys today because I have to do a video for some training for Paul Mitchell, and I'm trying out a brand new foundation to go be in a video. So luckily my face shouldn't be in it too much, just in case this goes awry. So that's like the center. I don't have anything on the rest of my face yet. I'm going to take this more flocked side and just blend this out a little bit. And I know a lot of people, when they're doing foundation tests, they don't use a setting spray, but I always set my makeup, so I feel like if I'm always setting it, then it's a pretty like fair test because I'm always doing it. And then I've got this one area that's a little, like you can see my acne scars a little bit, so I'm just going to dab over that. So one thing I'll say right off the bat, if you have a lot of like fine facial hair, like all those little like white fuzzy hairs, you're probably not going to enjoy this. I haven't set my makeup yet, but I can tell the areas that I do have some like fine peach fuzz, I can see it a little bit more. And I've got some dry texture around my lip, and I can see that just a little bit more, but I mean, all in all, I think my skin looks really like blurred out, and it definitely looks more smooth, and I love like a glowy skin look, but I have a feeling that once I set this, it's going to give it a little bit more of a natural finish. So I think that that will be great. I do think that I would probably have put a little bit of concealer on, just because I don't feel like my under eyes are as bright as they normally would be. So I think I'm going to risk it. I think I'm going to go ahead and put some on, just a really light one, and then I'll finish up my makeup and we'll set. So just again, so you guys can, I'll zoom you guys in so you can see. be back in a minute. All right, guys, so I have my final makeup on. I just went through and did the usual routine. I tried to stay fairly light on the blush and the bronzer and the highlight just so we could really see throughout the day how this works out. I did go through and put on some concealer because I really could tell that I needed some. I don't necessarily think I would do it that way again. Usually when I use the IT Cosmetics powder that I was talking about, I conceal a little bit first and then just dust that powder everywhere for a little bit of a finish. And I think that's what I would do with this one. And I can tell now that I'm seeing it that this has darkened down a decent bit. I don't know if it's just from the spray. I went through with the Tarte Stay Spray. If it's from the spray or if it's from like it oxidizing, but it has gotten a little bit deeper. So that's one thing that I would say is the color that you put on initially, it will darken down a little bit. As you can see, like my neck, and I even bronzed up my neck a little bit. So I think I'm gonna have to go through with a little bit of that powder. Overall, I feel like the areas that I did the lighter coverage, it looks pretty good, but in the areas that I did more, it looks a little thick, and I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I'll have to see how this wears throughout the day. I will let you guys know. If I get a chance, I'll snap a picture when I'm out and about. We will see how this goes. So far, it's like a C for me. I think that if you are someone who has a skin type that's maybe a little bit more oily and you need something that is really gonna like help make sure that you don't get overly glowy, this might help. I will also try this like I said, like I do with the IT Cosmetics powder, and just see how I like that. But I do really like that one already, so if they end up being similar, I'll probably just stick with that one. Depending on price point, I'll check that out. But that's my first impression so far. What do you guys think? Is this something that you've been interested to try? I just was really, curious as someone who's over 30 trying to, try a powder foundation. I don't think though that it is matte. You certainly probably can keep it matte, but if you do set it and you use a good moisturizer, I think you can get more of like that satin finish. It's not overly glowy, but it's not super matte, and I do really like that because it does give you options. I don't know, I'm still on the fence, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if it was helpful. If I don't have a chance to give you guys a picture or an update, I'll go ahead and print it down at the bottom of the screen, how I felt about this product.
Hey guys, just taking a moment to check in from my car. Obviously I'm out in the natural light, and I just wanted to take a moment to document because I think I've changed my mind a little bit about this product. I did end up taking off under my eyes and between my forehead that concealer that I had put on. So I just wiped everything off and then reapplied my concealer and then put a little bit of the powder over the top. I just wanted to give it a true shot to see how it would work. And it is really humid out, as you can tell, like my hair is getting big and in charge. But it's really humid out and I don't have any like excessive glow. This looks really good. So if you have really oily skin, I think this would really be really good for you. It does look like makeup on the skin. Like I was just checking it out in the gas station, in the bathroom, and in that lighting, it looked like I had makeup on. So it's not going to be the most like natural finish, which just will never happen when you have a powder on, I don't personally believe. But if you have really oily skin, I think this would be good for if you're just looking for something to dust on quick. Again, I used the I did end up using the second time when I went through with concealer. I did the concealer and then I just used the flocked side, so the white side that's a little bit more sheer coverage, just to put everything on. So I personally think that that's how I would prefer to use it, but you could go fuller coverage. I don't necessarily think that this is ever going to be a full coverage product though. So sorry, my arm's getting tired. I don't have like a mountain here. So I don't think that this would ever be considered a full coverage to me. I mean, I feel like I can still see some of my acne scars, which I don't personally mind. These are like fresher breakouts, but I don't personally mind that. I'd rather see a little bit of skin peek through than feel like I'm wearing a mask. So that's just a little update from me. I will still let you know in my final thoughts. I think I'll probably just write a little description at the end of the day, let you know how I feel. But here's just a little natural light throughout the day check-in. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you so much for watching and playing with some makeup with me today. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you really soon.